I'm going to welcome in Jerry now from Heritage Logging.
Who also is helping himself to some barbecue this morning.
I was going to intro him a little sooner, but I saw him throw a big piece of cornbread into his mouth. So I said, let's talk about Andrew's snowmobiling here for a second. Good morning, Jerry. How you doing?
Morning. How you guys doing today?
Good. Of course, Jerry, at Heritage Logging, and this goes back, probably over a year now. Jerry did some work, took some trees down on my property, and I think a lot of people, when they think about the service you provide, right, they think about, I got a tree that needs to come down, or I need a branch trimmed. And as we've talked to you before, it's really a lot more than that. There's, first of all, which I think is incredible, and we'll talk about this because it's pertinent today when we have the snow, and it could be heavy, wet snow, and then ice, and then more snow. You provide an emergency service, basically, where people can call you. A tree comes down in the middle of the night, on someone's house, on someone's garage. Heaven forbid it punctures a hole in someone's house. And I guess I'll let you kind of explain what it is you can do in that situation.
Yeah, it's full 24-hour emergency service. You can call me anytime. The number is 315-796-2941. That goes directly to my cell. You can also text me at the number. Basically, as you say, if a tree comes down the house, maybe breaks the roof up enough or busts out a window or something, I can come get the tree off the house, and I'll come plywood, screws, put things back together enough so you can stay in your home, don't have to go get a hotel for a night, or at least keep it so you can keep the house warm, so the pipes aren't freezing, things like that. We can help you secure the home to the point where the next day or the next couple of days insurance can come. You can get a regular contractor come in there and start fixing it.
And one of the things we've talked before about with insurance is you've done this many times, enough times where you can kind of say, let's say a branch breaks a window or punctures and there's additional damage that's not really visible, like when you're just looking at the side of the house or the top of the house.
Yes. Luckily, my background, I have a architectural engineering degree. I've worked in an engineering firm. I have the technical knowledge. I've also done construction. I've been a superintendent in construction. I have all those abilities. So I can help you to kind of guide the insurance guy so we make sure we catch everything, make sure we see that, okay, there's some trusses that are broken, or we got other issues beyond the obvious up front. I'm sure everybody knows insurance companies aren't your friends.
Yeah, sure. They want to pay out probably as little as they can.
And they do, especially with the tree work. I mean, I try to tell people, check your policies. Sometimes all they cover is just enough to get the tree off the house. It's about $1,000. Just get up off the house, and that's it. It's not getting rid of it. That's not getting any maintenance done to the landscape or anything due to what the tree's done. As far as the tree goes, that's all you get. So you want to check to make sure you have something that's a little bit better sometimes.
And that's one of the things we talked about before is I had a tree in my yard where it was like giving me headaches, and every time we got a storm, I would lose branches. And there was actually a tree closer to my house that we ultimately took down because we had some concerns about it. So, and that's a great reason to have you come and kind of examine a property.
Yeah, when I went to Andrew's house, he wanted me to look at the one out front,
right,
and I walked right by it.
Yeah,
because that wasn't the one I wanted. I seen the other one. I was like, okay, this is the one's got to come down. And I let it be your choice if you want to take one or the other. But the one out front wasn't dangerous. The one out back was dangerous.
So this is a great story. So Andrew, there was a tree in front of Andrew's home that you grew up in, huge pine tree, right?
Or what was it? What was the one
out
front?
White spruce.
White spruce. To me, it's a pine tree. It looks like a giant Christmas tree, right?
Yes.
So I just say a pine tree. It's right in front of your house, right? And you were.
And it was leaning, and it was old, and it had some dead branches. So I'm thinking that's the one that's going to destroy my parents' house,
right? And we would joke. Your sister was like, "That tree's going to come in right through the bedroom window," right? Kind of what we're talking about here this morning. Jerry shows up and he goes, "There's a problem tree here, but it's not that one."
Right. And so this is kind of funny. You always talk about, and I feel like this is with a lot of experts, but it's real. Like if you have waited one more storm, or
it can
basically.
happen.
So what you had told me was this one in the back. Actually, the weight of the house was actually holding the tree up.
It was basically bracing itself along the roof line. There wasn't much holding that tree. I showed you a couple of the rips and splits in it and the rotten spots in the tree. There wasn't much holding that thing up. It really, it probably would be down by now.
It probably would have. And so that's kind of the point I wanted to make is, yes, you do the emergency service, but you really don't want to wait until you have an emergency to address troubled trees.
Yeah, because as a tree dies, it gets more dangerous for me to climb the trees, especially we got a backyard tree we can't get equipment to. I got to climb.
That's another thing people don't know. Jerry, I mean, he was showing me photos during the break of a recent project he did, and he's in the tree.
Oh, yeah.
He climbs the tree.
Yeah.
He's holding on for dear life and cutting that thing. I mean, he's got a great staff that helps him out, but sometimes you got to go up alone, right?
You're pretty much up the tree alone most times.
Yeah.
It's the guys on the ground help you rig and stuff. But as a tree declines and it gets more dangerous for me to climb, the price goes up. Plain and simple. I'm not going to risk everything for nothing.
Right. Yeah, totally understand. All right, so I want to ask as well, do we need to cover anything else on what this storm could do to trees? And
you say the ice buildup.
If we get the ice buildup, they're saying a tenth of an inch to an inch ice on trees, and then you add snow on top of that, wet, heavy snow on top of that. We could not only lose branches, whole sections of trees. Trees could tip over. Your fir trees will definitely tip if they get a lot of wind on them. If that all happens,
could this weather turn? And in some cases, this is probably where people have a difficult choice. But you could have a perfectly healthy, good tree that gets destroyed by one storm.
And it can be destroyed, can be ripped apart. The best thing you can do for your younger shrubs, smaller trees, if you can TP them off, put some kind of A-frame over to help hold them up, or something just to support them while the ice melts. When the ice hits, that's when it just rips and tears and breaks everything, and then the tree will look like it might survive in the next year, but then the insects come in, rot sets in, and then you got another trouble down the road anyway.
It's so crazy that Jerry's. I mean, he's got so much knowledge. It's not just about removal of tree, but you do brokering for people that are looking maybe if they have a plot of land with good trees, and we'll get into that in a second. But your knowledge of just the science of and the makeup of the tree. He was showing me. One little imperfection or what I thought was maybe just an imperfection in the branch. He's like, no, that's hollowed out tree. I mean, your bark is basically wrapping around itself because you've got no more tree left in the branch. So it's amazing what you can find wrong with a tree.
There's just certain things after quite a few years doing it, being in the woods, being around trees. The recent project I was showing you, the guy didn't realize how bad those trees were. Me and my guys looked at, okay, we got to take them down too. And it wasn't until the end, he was a little upset. He really didn't want to take them down until I got down to the bottom and I showed him where the ants have been in there. Once you got into the inside and the heart of the tree, you could see where the ants have infiltrated it. And once the black ants get in there, you start delamination of the wood, the bark starts coming off. It's only a couple years for those trees have been too dangerous to climb, and they hung right over the house and pool and everything. They were a bad spot.
He was showing me a photo of the tops of the trees, and I said, "What is this picture I'm looking at?" And then you look closer, and there's Jerry just hanging out in the branches. The trees were so tall and so big, he just looked like a little bird in the tree there. So
another thing that you do is kind of a clearing of a property, right? And you go in and as Andrew was saying, you kind of look for valuable wood, and you let people know what they can get for it. And when they go through you, it's a 50-50 split. There's no kind of middleman. It's
right.
You take the value of the tree, and you split it between the homeowner and yourself.
For logging, harvesting projects, that's what I do, is a 50-50 split. It's the fairest way I found it. Some companies will buy on the stump. Generally, they're only giving about 30% value. 50-50, I'm working for you. I'm making as much money for you as I'm making for myself. There's no reason for me to downgrade anything or do anything wrong because my money comes from your money. It's equal share.
Yeah. Well, and 50-50 is generous because you're not only finding a buyer, you're not only finding somebody.
I produce all logs out. Everything's logged in the woods.
And you remove it.
Prompt to the landing. Tops are, depending on location, sometimes we hack the tops down, sometimes we pull tops out, sometimes you don't. It depends on predation by deer and other animals in the woods and how you want to treat the woods. So it's a full TSI job, timber stand improvement while we're in the log site. We grade all our trails, put in corduroy, put in water dams, reseed all the landing, all the trails when we're done. So full harvest job really includes a full harvest job. Where a lot of guys, they'll maybe do a 60-40, but they're not doing all the rest. They're not calling out the beech woods, going back in with atrazines to kill off the beech woods. Different things like that really should be done if you want good, healthy woods to have in the future.
Another thing you do is you said that the hunting stands. The actual name of it is
tree properties,
the tree stand. Yeah, the tree stands. Where if people have a big plot of land and they're interested in doing hunting, you can kind of curate the property to make it more friendly for animals.
Yeah, there's a lot of times, unfortunately, people call me after they've bought a piece of property. Yeah. They really should call me first, and they're like, "Oh, I want to log this." The guy sold it to him, already logged it. He's already destroyed it. and they've only bought it for hunting
the original property owner.
Well, the first thing you do is call a realtor, such as myself, to buy the land. Then you can call Jerry.
Yeah, well, the realtors are supposed to be calling me on behalf of the homeowners.
That's right. That's what that is correct.
But, so someone's kind of already taken the valuable wood
They've
away.
already taken the valuable wood, and you've bought this as a hunting property. Your thought is, oh, I'm going to harvest a little bit of timber, and I can make it a better hunting property. It's not going to cost me so much. You get a hold of me first. I can help you kind of decide which is going to be better hunting properties. Plus, if you just buy a rock shelf, it isn't going to do any good for hunting.
Yeah.
But if you do have some property, you want me to look at it, and I'll come in, I'll look, and I'll kind of decide, okay, let's put in a food plot over here. We're going to open this up. This is never going to be good timber. We'll do an apple release. We got an apple in one section where you get a lot of apples growing. Harvest some of the hardwoods, make some trails from bedding areas to water sources, back to feed sources. Try to make the main skid roads. Deer will take the path of least resistance. Run those skid roads in that trail between the feed and the water. The deer are going to sit right there for you. They'll stay on the property if, as you say, curate it properly.
All right, Jerry at Heritage Logging.
Two more things I want to add. One, so in some cases with the logging, you've actually, instead of people having to pay you, you've actually gone in there, done the work, and cut them a check. In some cases,
on logging, if it's logged, you're always getting a check.
Okay, yeah.
If I'm doing a takedown on your home on private property where I'm taking down trees that you need removed, there are times when, yes, you will get a check back.
Wow.
Because I sell, if it's
valuable
good timber,
land, yeah,
good timber, I sell that timber for you. So I market it, sell it, truck it sometimes if I have to, and then whatever the value of the tree is, you get it back, minus whatever my cost to take the tree down was, or here's the cost to take it down. We'll split the cost of the tree. I mean, there's a couple of different ways I'll work it with landowners depending on what the tree is, how difficult it is.
Yeah, and always leaves the yard looking very neat, even with it being wet. And it was a muddy day, and my parents' yard is naturally kind of muddy. There was no problem with having a giant mess. And I
couldn't believe it. It's funny. After they took the tree down, I'm like, wow.
The house looks different.
Yeah, it looks totally different.
Yeah.
That's a really nice looking house, but you couldn't see it before.
Exactly.
Yeah, the big spruce up front kind of hit it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it was doing damage, too. It was doing damage to the house because there's so much mildew, moss that was growing on,
right.
Algae was
People
growing
don't
on
think
the siding.
about that.
All that stuff was ruining the front of the house, and that'll rot out the soffits and the fascia boards. Mm-hmm. If you have asphalt shingles, the needles get up in there, hold water. They'll create miniature ice dams, and then that backs up underneath the shingles, pops the shingles. Now you got more leaks in the roof.
Yeah.
All this stuff will happen if you got trees too close. If you got, especially the spruce like that was way too close.
Even if it's not something that needs to be taken down, you recommend maybe calling you to prune
it, look at
get
it.
Get those branches away from the house, yeah.
It never hurts to have somebody look at it and just see. Okay, if you have any questions, if you're wondering, if you're curious, call me up.
All right, Jerry at Heritage Logging, that number to call you up, 315-796-2941, 796-2941. You do a great job. I really appreciate what you did, and Andrew loved what you did. But, again, at this time of year, I know you do a bunch of different things, and you can kind of take a tree down at any time, except in the middle of a snowstorm probably. But
I wouldn't try to take it down a snowstorm, but if this storm hits tonight, tomorrow, if you're in danger, give me a call. Don't try to fight with a tree on your own. A lot of people get hurt this time of year. Oh, I'll take care of it myself. When a tree comes down, there's a lot of weights, a lot of power inside those trees. You cut the wrong branch the wrong time, you can get hurt.
796-2941. You can get Jerry on his cell phone at Heritage Logging. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks,
That was
guys.
Good stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
That barbecue.
Enjoy some more.